The long-awaited web development guide is here. What's up? I'm MongoDB and welcome to my channel. If you want to get started with web development, software development, coding, programming, well, this is the only video you'll ever need to watch. No, it's not the only video. This is the first and most important video you need to watch. I'm going to be sharing with you a complete guide on gaining mastery in web development, what languages to learn, what tools to use, where to even learn what you want to learn. So what are we waiting for? Let's get started already. Now, the three most important languages you need to learn for your web development journey are HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. But before we dive into these three languages and what they entail and what surrounds them, where do you even go to start learning all the tools I'm going to mention today and these languages in the first place? It's not like you can just go register for a web development course in the university. Can you do that? I don't know. By the way, that's totally fine. You don't need a computer science degree to learn web development. You don't even need a degree at all of any kind to learn web development. That's why I'm here. That's why I'm about to give you the real guide, the real complete guide in getting started and mastering web development. So where do you go? Well, first of all, the freest and most important platform on the planet right now, video platform on the planet right now, or course platform, is YouTube. In YouTube, you'll find a lot of resources from a lot of skilled people, real good quality resources on web development, on programming, coding, learning any programming language at all. You're going to find it on YouTube. But the problem I see with many people in YouTube is that there are a lot of videos, a lot of resources. So where do I even start from? What do I learn? Yeah, again, that's why we have this video. So YouTube is right there. You find courses from really cool instructors like Traversy. There's also Ania, Kubow, who has a really good skill of teaching people programming. There's also CodeStackr with really amazing videos on getting started with web development and web development guide in general and advice. That's right there. There are videos from CodeStackr, that's Jesse, who has really amazing web development videos on HTML, CSS, JavaScript. James Quick is also there with HTML, CSS, JavaScript videos. You're going to learn web development in these channels. I'm going to leave a link in the description. And most of these instructors have guides on web development as well. So you can check them out, see their detailed instructions on getting started with web development, also a step-by-step introduction to web development. And of course, myself right here, MongoDB, my channel, I have web development videos, HTML, CSS, JavaScript videos. So you want to get started with web development, this is a good place to start. Now, those are the free courses on YouTube. But remember, like I said before, many of these channels, many of these courses, many of these videos are not structured. So if you want that structured platform like you see in schools, there's also another huge free platform, Freecodecamp. So you go to Freecodecamp. Freecodecamp has structured courses on web development. You know that this is what you're going to do first, then this is what you're going to do next, and this is what you're going to do next. It's a really cool platform with an amazing community. So Freecodecamp has a very, very large community of developers. So you're not going to be the only one learning from Freecodecamp. You find many other people learning from Freecodecamp who you can interact with, ask questions. There are Freecodecamp communities on Facebook, Facebook groups. There are Freecodecamp communities on Discord, and so many other places you can find people learning how to code on Freecodecamp as well. I'm going to leave a link to the Freecodecamp website in the description of this video. But like I always say to people, you have to learn how to invest in yourself, invest in your growth. Many of the people trying to get started with web development and programming these days are people who have paid thousands of dollars learning in school, learning universities, buying textbooks, paying the university to teach them, paying lecturers, and right now you want to start a new career path. So it's also worth it to invest in this new career path. And you're definitely not going to invest as much as you did in school. It's going to be very, very little compared to what you did in school. So take the free mindset out of your mind. You can start with free courses, but learn how to invest in yourself. So you can get paid courses from Udemy. These are really structured courses. You'll find many of the instructors on YouTube like Traversy. They also create Udemy courses, and you know that there's going to be difference. So if I'm creating the free course on YouTube and I'm also creating the paid course on Udemy, I'm going to be paying different kinds of attentions to these two platforms. So there's always going to be a difference between the free and the paid course. So try to get paid courses too from really cool Udemy instructors. You want to go for experienced Udemy instructors that you can trust. Most of them you find their videos on YouTube already, so you can purchase their courses on Udemy and use that to strengthen your knowledge, use that to increase your skill. Remember, you don't have to start with the paid courses. There are a lot of free platforms that you can also make it without going for the paid courses, but most paid courses just make things easier. But remember, you can make it with YouTube, you can make it with Freecodecamp if you don't have the money. But if you do, get paid courses. Don't be stingy to yourself. Don't deny yourself these resources because you think that everything should be free. Everything is not free and cannot be free. So even for these free platforms, right, Freecodecamp, free YouTube instructors, you have to learn how to donate to these people. There's also Coursera and edX. I like mentioning these two together because these are really huge platforms with mostly from mostly universities. So you go to Coursera, you go to edX, you find mostly universities there putting out courses, and these courses are mostly free. You only pay for these courses if you need a certificate, and I want to bring it to you. You don't really need a certificate to get a job in the web development world. What you need is the knowledge. So you go for the knowledge. That is if you don't have the money to pay. So you go for the knowledge. Go on edX, go on Coursera, take these courses. You can take them for free. They're structured courses too. If you're that kind of person who wants structured courses, you can get these things from edX, from Coursera. There's also Udacity. Udacity has like nano degree programs, which is similar or close, in a way close to bachelor's degree and all that. So they have nano degree programs. You do that, it's paid and it costs a lot. I think that's like the costliest platform out of the list I'm going to mention. So there's Udacity. There's also Scrimba. Scrimba is an interactive platform for learning to code. You see, you have a lot of options. You have a lot of people you can learn from. You have free courses, you have paid courses. There's nothing that should stop you from learning a web development today. You can literally start today. All you need is a device. It could be a mobile device or a laptop. I use the mobile device to start, and then I move to a laptop, and that's happening with a lot of people. So if you don't have a laptop, you start with a mobile device, and if you have a laptop, perfect. There's literally nothing stopping you. So you can get started today. Those are the platforms you can learn how to code with. Now, what do we even learn? Now we know the platforms. What do we learn? You want to learn web development, you have to start with HTML. This is what you use to structure your website. When you see a button on your website, that's HTML right there. You see a text, that's HTML right there. Basically, the content, what's inside your web page, the structure, that's HTML right there. So you want to start with HTML. Here you learn what it means to write semantic HTML. You also learn proper indentation. Is good. I always advise people, and the people I train, I always make them learn how to indent their code properly from HTML. So you start learning how to code, and immediately you learn proper indentation. That's arranging your code. So you're writing code, the code you write, how to properly arrange it. You learn that with HTML because that knowledge is also going to be transferable to every other language you learn after HTML. You'll also learn how to use things like CDN, script tags to bring in external functionalities. So functionalities that you did not write yourself. Someone has already written a whole library that does this particular functionality. You can bring that into your own web page. So that's what it means, CDN, script tags and all that. You're going to learn that with HTML, and you're going to learn tags and all the rest. So the HTML language, you learn it right there. So HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language. You start with HTML. Very important. Don't skip HTML because you can't put anything on your website, on your web page without learning HTML. For me, HTML is the easiest, and for a lot of I don't know if there's anyone who will say the next one I'm about to mention, CSS, is easier than HTML. So I'm going to say this, but I know a lot of people have different learning styles, different choices and all that. But from what I've seen from myself and majority, HTML is the easiest when it comes to learning HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So don't worry, you're not going to have much of a problem or trouble learning HTML. So we move to the next, CSS. CSS is really cool. You use HTML to like put content on your web page, put like text, buttons, the structure of your web page and all that. But it's just like it's black and white, is not beautiful, it doesn't look good and all that. You use CSS to make your website look good. So CSS stands for Cascading Style Sheet. This is what you use to make your website look good. You use it to style your website. So whenever you hear CSS, you'll also hear styling, Cascading Style Sheet. That's what you use to style your website. So your website is like this bare bone right here. It's just a skeleton with HTML, and then you use CSS to make it fleshy, to make it look beautiful. And you can think of it like yourself. You have your skeleton right there and your bones and your structure, and then you put CSS on it and use that to style your body so you make yourself look good. That's why people look different from other people. The HTML might be the same, the skeletons might be the same, but then the CSS, the flesh on your body, is what's going to make you look different from the next person and the next person and the next person. So that's CSS right there. And indentation, arranging your code properly, is what's going to help you understand your code easier. It's what's going to help other people understand your code too. So don't neglect all these guidelines, the guidelines on making your code easy to understand, readable. So in CSS, you also learn things like responsiveness. So you hear of responsive web design, RWD. It's like making your website responsive so that if I take your web page and I put it on a desktop computer, it properly fits. The text is completely legible, it fits the whole page, it's well designed, properly designed. And if I take that same web page that fits into that large screen and I take it to a mobile phone, I open it up in a mobile phone, it still fits very well. So it's responsive, it responds to the size of the screen, it responds to the device. So I put it in a mobile phone and it still fits properly. I can still read the things. I don't have things that are too big or things that are too small. So that's a responsiveness. You learn that in CSS. And you also learn to do things like animation. So you want to add animation to your website. CSS is very good for that kind of thing. You have like bouncing balls, or you hold on a button and it does something, it shakes, or you click on the button and something happens, or something is jumping around your web page. CSS is good for that kind of thing. Now, difficulty level, HTML easy. You know, you're really flowing, you're really enjoying this web development stuff, and then you put in CSS, and well, CSS is kind of a little bit more complicated than HTML is. All these things are learnable, but the difficulty level is a little bit more than HTML, but you're still flowing. That's good. Okay, now let's get to JavaScript. Now, this is where things might start to become a little bit more difficult. And this is the problem that many people have. Many people, they start with HTML. You know, I've taught a lot of people web development, so I've seen these things reoccur many times. They start with HTML and they're flowing really good. In 2 weeks, they're in a good place. 1 month, they're in a good place. They go to CSS and they're flowing really well. You know, you style your web page and it's looking beautiful and all, and you enjoy yourself. And you're like, oh, I learned CSS in like 2 weeks. I learned CSS in 4 weeks. And then they go to JavaScript and they expect to learn JavaScript as fast as they learned HTML and CSS. And once that stops happening, you know, when that's not happening, they start getting really frustrated. What you should understand is that HTML is a hypertext, a markup language. CSS is a style sheet, and JavaScript is a programming language. So there's a huge difference between HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So the difficulty level, it has upped up a bit. It's still learnable, remember, still very learnable, but don't expect it to be like HTML and CSS. I want you to have that in mind before you start learning it, so you don't get frustrated after 2 weeks and wonder, why am I all getting this? I got HTML, I got CSS. Why is this so difficult? That's how it is for everyone. So JavaScript is very different from HTML and CSS. JavaScript is what you use to make your website dynamic. So you want to do something in your web page. If I click on the button, I want something to happen. I use JavaScript for that. If I want to exit my page, I don't know if you've seen that before. You want to close a tab on your web page, so you're taking your mouse and you're going to the close button, and then something pops up like a modal that just shows up on your webpage and say, hey, subscribe to my newsletter before you go. Are you planning to leave? And you're wondering, how is that done? Wait, speaking of subscription, a sub to this channel right now is going to be really dynamic. Did you get the joke? Dynamic, JavaScript dynamic. Okay, but you're wondering, how is this happening? How do they know that I'm about to exit the page? Is JavaScript looking at your mouse interaction? It knows when you're trying to exit the page. So that's JavaScript used to make your website really dynamic. I want this website to be interactive. I want this website to respond to the user's action. So use JavaScript for that. JavaScript also helps us with data fetching. So you want to get the data you put on your web page from a faraway server, from a faraway place, a place that's not in your current web page. You use JavaScript to fetch that data, to fetch content from outside of your web page, outside of your hard-coded HTML and CSS code. You use JavaScript to get that data and then you put it in your HTML. So JavaScript helps with data fetching, making our website dynamic, making our website interactive. You know, users are able to interact with the website. They do something and our website responds to those users. Remember, this is your introduction to programming with JavaScript. This is your real main introduction to to programming, you get to learn things like looping, conditional statements. If I do something, something else should happen. You get to learn things like filtering. So you want to search for something, you're using JavaScript to filter through data and all that. So you start to use JavaScript to learn this thing. This knowledge, the knowledge you get from JavaScript, is going to be transferable to other programming languages like Java, like C#, like Golang, if you've heard of those ones before. So the knowledge you learn in JavaScript, you always find them with your core in all these other programming languages. So you got to take this seriously. Take learning JavaScript really, really serious. Yeah, I said that right. Now, you probably heard of TypeScript before. You probably not. I mean, it's very, very possible that you've learned because you're just getting started. But when you start learning HTML, CSS, JavaScript, you're going to start hearing of TypeScript a lot, and you're wondering, what's this TypeScript? Right now, you might think that JavaScript is going to be the most difficult one, HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, yeah. But then, when you put TypeScript together with JavaScript is going to look like the friendly one, and TypeScript is going to be the strict one. That's all you need to know for now. Don't bother yourself too much about that. Just focus on HTML, CSS, and JavaScript for now. After JavaScript, you might want to learn front-end frameworks like React, Vue, Angular, Svelte.js, and all that. These are front-end frameworks. You can pick just one. You don't have to learn everything. You can learn just React. You can learn just Vue.js. You can learn just Svelte.js or Angular. These front-end frameworks are what helps us build large applications. So if you want to build a large application like Netflix, for example, it's going to be difficult, complex, if you're doing that with just JavaScript. You hear vanilla, the word vanilla JavaScript a lot. So that's when someone's trying to differentiate the JavaScript programming language from the frameworks built on top of JavaScript. So vanilla, I built this website with vanilla JavaScript. That means I used only pure JavaScript. I built this with a framework, so I use something like React, Angular, Vue, built on top of JavaScript. So these frameworks help make building large applications like Netflix easy. So you go to Netflix on your browser, that was built with the React framework. If you had to do that with just JavaScript, it's going to be really, really complex and difficult to maintain. So that's why a lot of people move to frameworks for building these large applications. But remember, these frameworks are built on top of JavaScript. So don't skip JavaScript and go to start learning React or start learning Angular or Vue. No, you have to learn JavaScript first of all and go learn React. I know there are a few people who say it's okay, you learn HTML, CSS and go straight to learning a framework like React, Angular. Don't listen to them. Listen to me. Don't listen to them. You have to learn JavaScript first of all, and then you learn a framework. It's going to be easier for you that way because these frameworks are built on top of JavaScript. Speaking of frameworks and how they make things easier, how React makes building large applications easier for JavaScript. There are also CSS framework that you're going to hear of, like Bootstrap. You're going to hear of Bootstrap. I'm sure of that. I'm very sure you're going to hear of Bootstrap. So Bootstrap is like a CSS library. Think of it like this. I've written the whole CSS styling, styled forms and all that for building websites, and I put it out there. I put out my CSS code out there, and I say, hey everyone, if you want to build a website, go take my CSS code and just use it. So think of it that way. That's like the simplest way I can explain it to you right now. So Bootstrap is out there, like you have a library of CSS and you can just take from it and use it. You might also hear of Tailwind CSS and all that. These are like CSS libraries and frameworks. So that's for frameworks. Now we have HTML, CSS, JavaScript frameworks. You might want to consider learning databases. So this is where you store data. You have data that you want to use in your website. You have to store it somewhere. So you want to learn about databases, and a really good place to start for front-end web developers is IndexedDB. There's a database right there in your browser named IndexedDB. By the way, I have a 3-hour course on IndexedDB, so check that out right now. No, not right now. Wait, when you get to learn databases, so go check that out. That's where you get to learn about databases, IndexedDB and all that. But there are also other databases outside of the browser. So remember, this is just for the browser. There are databases outside of the browser. So you might want to learn a language like SQL. And you also hear of NoSQL. I think it's pronounced NoSQL, but that's the spelling right there on the screen. So SQL, NoSQL, document-based databases. So you want to learn about SQL databases, PostgreSQL. You want to learn about Firestore for Firebase, MongoDB. That's it for database. Then you learn how to get data from that database, put it on your website, build on your web page, and all that. At this point, you can start calling yourself a well-qualified and well-skilled web developer after learning all this. It's good you don't focus on money from the start, from the beginning. try to take that out of your mind. First of all, you want to start making money when you get really good. So focus on getting the skills. If you make money, that's cool, but focus on getting the skills, strengthening your knowledge. Focus on that. Focus on learning HTML properly, learning CSS properly, learning JavaScript properly, any of the JavaScript framework, you know, databases, handling data and all that, and then you're good to go. So there are a lot of things you're going to learn in between. A lot of other libraries, other frameworks, other technologies I didn't mention, I can't mention because they're just so much, but these are the major ones. These are the things you should focus on. This is the ball you should keep your eyes fixed on, and then any other thing that comes in between, around and about, you can learn that, you can pick that up. But these are the major things you need to know to get started with web development, and I think I did justice to this topic. Is there any question you have for me, anything you think I should have addressed or answered? Ask it right here in the comment section below. Is there any question you don't have for me? Still say something. I just want to hear something from you in the comment section, because that helps the YouTube algorithm, that helps my channel and the videos. Just say hi, say hello, say something. Hit the like button, subscribe to this channel so that you get to see more of my web development videos and tech videos in general. Thank you for watching. See you next time. I have other videos you should check out right now. Check them out right now.